order. Everyone is present. Marina and Robert will not be present this evening. Pledge of allegiance, flag is right behind you here. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. And mission statement, Viroqua area schools will nurture excellence, unlock potential, and ignite passion. We have a student board report, student activities and academics. We have Rachel Deal here this evening. You want to come forward, please? Come this way. Come this way.
So the microphone is right up here.
Yes. And if you stand right over in here, we can see you. You'll be live.
Right.
Perfect. There you go. Perfect. Welcome.
Well, I'm Rachel and I'm a senior here. And I am planning on attending UW lacrosse and majoring in exercise science on a free chiropractic track. And this year I've been in cross country, basketball, and now I'm in track and field. And I'm in the National Honor Society, Student Council, Future Business Leaders of America.
So my understanding is that basketball went well this year. There's a huge number in track.
Yes.
And has that started? Or a little too soon?
Yeah, we're on the third week now.
All right. And what's going on in student council these days?
Well, right now we're doing a March Madness basketball for the week.
Great.
Yeah.
That's
So-
for the girls and the boys
Yeah,
both.
so each class has a tennis ball and throws it into the basket, like a 5-gallon bucket in the classrooms.
So each student does that?
Yeah, it's in the first block.
Okay. And then what happens?
The winning class will get donuts. Student council will pay for donuts.
Oh, it sounds fun.
Yep.
Are there any brackets?
Yeah, we made the whole bracket, and so today was the first day.
How was your years?
Our class made 14 out of 16, so we made it on till tomorrow.
That's,
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, that's very fun. Is it grade level competition or
First
class?
block.
Just,
Yeah.
it's all first block.
Yeah.
Okay. It's very fun. How many days till you graduate?
44.
Okay, just wanted to know. Didn't have the count had quite started yet, but
Oh,
was
less
assuming that it did. Okay.
that's
Right around there, approximately, ish.
Rachel, did you score points for the team at the meet Saturday
Yep,
or Friday?
got fourth place.
Oh,
What
that's
about-
marvelous.
2 miles.
That's great. That's great. Was that indoor, outdoor?
It's indoor.
How's the track team doing?
Good. Yeah, we've only had our first meet, so it was big school because we're against a ton of bigger schools. So our team got like 10th or something.
Out of how many?
I want to say like 16 or 20. So
Oh, okay, so you're in the middle.
yeah.
Very nice. I'll take that any day. Well, thank you. We wish you only good things in your future. If there's ever anything our district can do for you after you graduate, we are here for you. So thanks for coming tonight and sharing. And if there's anything that we're talking about, that you have more questions, you can come to any of us or the administration, because budget will be very exciting for you. This is a night for the budget report too. So, and I don't know if you have anything that you have to be to after this, but you do not have to stay, but if you would like to, I'd be happy to have you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I like the invite every time. You do a nice job.
I'm trying. It's important to me. Next, we have Spotlight on Education, High School Library Council. Gidget, do you want to bring all of your students up?
I'm gonna let our president and vice president and secretary take over most of the conversations. It's gonna be kind of behind the scenes.
I'm Ava Cole. I'm currently president of Library Council.
I'm Kylie Hushka, I'm the vice president.
I'm Anna Solerson, I'm the secretary.
I'm Bree Grant.
And I'm Madison Jones, we're just part of it.
Yeah.
Active members.
There you go.
Very, yes. Library Council is a great opportunity to see behind the scenes of like what library work is like. I personally, I'm going into a library science field. So it's been a great opportunity to actually see how a school library works, and I really enjoy it.
A lot of our members, we do different things like shelving books. Sometimes we even get to check in books, check out other students, and it's very nice interacting with other kids, kind of seeing what they're reading and what's going on, so.
And then next week, we're doing it's sort of a concession stance with the Sources of Strength doing their afternoon spring cleaning is what they're calling it. We're gonna do a concession stand where we sell like homemade snacks in here while they do the read-in. And we have made a lot of profit off that in the past, and it's worked really well, so we're hoping that is the same outcome.
What type of snacks?
I'm bringing in banana bread. Other people are bringing in pretzels, cookies, Rice Krispies, really anything that's not too messy, not too sticky.
Kind of a fun treat for the end of the day before you go on summer break.
So have you had the opportunity to learn kind of, I think people don't realize that the librarian has to choose the books that end up in the library. Have you gotten an opportunity to see what that's like?
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, that's kind of a part of our like end of the year field trip. So usually we go to lacrosse, or if we stay here, we order books online. So we talk and I'm just like, oh, this book might sound like it'd be a good fit for our library. Or like if we're up in lacrosse, we go to Barnes and Noble and we're just kind of shopping around thinking like, this student might like this book, or this one might end up being.
It also gives us an insight as to what like can't be brought into the library. Like I know the first year that I was in library council, we stayed in Viroqua and we did the online ordering. And we talked a lot about bringing in, or possibly bringing in like books on witchcraft and stuff. And we learned a lot that we have to be careful with the books that we bring in for the library because there are things that need to be considered.
It can be controversial.
And it's a 512 library, so that makes it a consideration.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many books librarians read, skim, know about. And I think if you're going into library science, it would have been a great opportunity to see.
She's well versed.
Do you do anything with the elementary library and choosing books there as well?
Not really with the elementary library. We're more focused on like the high school library. We've been trying to get over there for essentially like a read-in where we read to the littles, and we just haven't found a good time to do that. But we more focus on how we can better the Black Hog Library and not the elementary library.
Do you do anything tying curriculum or specific areas to different, I don't want you to use the word books necessarily, can be books, but books on tape or
Usually that's reserved for me.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
How far we go here.
We try to, let them see the process. Ava is actually YTY. Did I get it right this time?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's been in here quite a bit of time, more than the other kids get the opportunity to. And so she's seen a little more than a normal library council member. Normal library council members usually get maybe a half an hour a day in this room, and that's spent doing mundane things, unfortunately. A lot of putting books away and helping us to process and just get things back in order for the next day. So we have really great help doing that. And we also have just great help having a group of kids to help do other things. Like we brought some kids in to help do the Legos one day and just support the other classrooms. They help by working with some of the younger kids when they come in to do projects. So they do get some supervision and ideas, but not a lot of curriculum work.
So there's quite a bit of mentoring is done, which is very.
We try really hard to do that.
Mhm.
How many students are involved? Just you guys?
No, there's actually a lot of us. This year, we saw an up in membership by about 11 to 12 people. Last year, we were at 4. And now we're at, I want to say
12, 13.
12 to 13. So,
Yeah, we have a lot of freshmen. We're very grateful. for
Yes.
them.
That's
And
awesome.
you may say mundane, but we all have mundane pieces of our
Yes.
jobs,
Mhm.
but they're very important, and without them, you
Yes.
can't function.
And they get a little more leeway. So they get the opportunity to get passes to come in first.
Mhm.
They get some treats if they have managed to get everything done. I bring in homemade treats occasionally as fun things. And they always get to read the books first.
So you may not know this answer, but I'm going to ask, so how many books do you believe that you have read this year from our library? Like if you can guess, roundish.
I want to say 5 to 10.
Okay.
But that's because I have also like brought in books and I read a lot on my phone or on my Kindle. So I don't really read physical books so much.
And they are at that age where they've gone to the next step that we don't necessarily always have here in the village. That new young adult, that's becoming a new genre called new young adult, and it's that senior high school, freshman, sophomore of college grouping, and books get a little more spicy. So we have some, but not probably as many as they like to read.
Do you have a book club? Where you choose a book and have a discussion?
No, we don't have a book club. A few of us have very similar interests, so we recommend books to each other. But we don't really have a book club where we pick one book, we all read it at the same time and discuss it. That'd be more the Boba Book Club for middle school, where they talk about the book for the Battle of the Books.
Sure. It exposes you to a different genre perhaps than you're used to reading. It just can make it kind of interesting. A book that you never thought you would like and then you really do, or a book you think you'll really like and don't. So, and the discussions can.
Yes.
Any other questions? Well, thank you. Thank you for the work that you do for the other students and for our district, and reading's fun. And thank you for being here tonight too.
Thank you for having us.
Committee reports, budget and finance, Matt?
Yeah, we met tonight and talked about audit proposals. And we had a 3-year rate lock with Johnson Block, and that was up this year. We're going into next year. The last 3 years with them, it was $46,600 total dollars for their services. Their new rates starting in 24, 25, 26 would total $99,800. So a substantial increase there. Mike went out. Looks like we went to 4 different audit firms. Had a couple no responses. Johnson Block did give us a proposal. And then Lauterbach and Amen out of Naperville, Illinois, sent a proposal. Their 4-year total came in at $54,600. There are, sounds like 2 or 3 other districts in the area, Mike, that are using them. And they're growing their school audit in the state here. So that's the recommendation to go with Lauterbach and Baum.
Thank you. Any questions for Matt? All right, any public comment? The consent agenda includes approval of the agenda, public notice, February meeting minutes, voucher summary 1 in the amount of $368,572.72. Retirements and resignations, none that are new. Appointments, none. 24-25 fall early college credit program, Start College Now, and online course applications. The 24-25 Vernon County Better Futures 66.0301 cooperative resolution with West Fee, Kickapoo, and Lafarge.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? The only thing I'll add is the retirements and resignations we approved at our last board meeting, and we'll speak to that a little bit more in a few minutes. But all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So what I will say to the retirements, years of service at Viroqua Area Schools, Kathy Korn, 37 years, Lori Lummis, 27 years, Nan Oldenburg, 5 years. There's a resignation for Nicole Line of 4 years. And so with that, that's 50, 60, 14, 19, 69 years of service. And we would like to thank them deeply for their commitment to our district. They will be missed. We hope that they will be willing to step in when some of our other teachers are ill or unable to be at school and do some substitute teaching. And we respect them very much for the great work that they've done for our students and our district. The next item is an action item, voucher summary 2. And this is expenses related to health insurance.
Move to approve voucher summary 2 in the amount of $306,885.45.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I abstain. The audit contract, is there a motion to approve the audit contract?
I'll move to approve the audit bid with Lauterbach and Amen LLP of Naperville, Illinois for the 24, 25, 25, 26, 26, 27 school years as recommended by the Budget and Finance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Information and discussion. First item is the 24-25 school calendar. Tom, do you want to speak to that?
Yep, yeah, so you guys have already approved at a previous meeting, the start and end dates. We had talked about the logistics of trying to figure out some time for our teaching staff to meet in their collaborative teams. And so we have identified essentially 4 early dismissals throughout the year that will be used for that purpose. And so the 2, again, byproducts that are created whenever a district does this is trying to make sure that we are not cutting paraprofessional hours and support staff hours during those days. And then the secondary byproduct that comes every time you do something like this is a childcare situation where we already know that there's a lack of childcare in the area. And we know that this is going to be putting, our families potentially in a bind. And so we've focused on Wednesdays throughout the year. So there are 4. It would be in September, November, December, and April. And the only reason it's in those months is because the other months we have an in-service date for our teachers to have at least 1 day per month that they can have these meetings and be able to collaborate with their teams. And so we're looking forward to that piece, and we will share this calendar as soon as we can. But it's been a good process, and can't wait to share what that looks like as we move forward. I have had a lot of feedback for the following calendar, which we need to probably have a discussion on at some point. Our staff, though, at least those that are sharing with me right now, are stating that they really appreciated the early start and really appreciate being in fourth quarter right now. In March. And I see some head nods from some students and some staff right now. And so we can't do that for next year or for this 24-25 because we need that longer summer anyway for the construction project. But I think it is a discussion moving forward if the state will move on their and give that local control to the school boards as I feel they should have for a long time. Anyway, I will, but we are, you know, they're seeking feedback right now at DPI on that rule. And we hope that they receive a lot of feedback in support of giving you guys a control over your calendar.
Thank you. Any questions for John? Donations over $250. There are none at this time. Which is unusual, actually. We almost always have quite a few, but not this time. Preliminary 24-25 budget. I don't know if Tom or Mike are,
I'm gonna share my screen, Angie.
okay.
It didn't pop up, which, oh, there, okay, you're good. So we've got the I have the budget presentation here. Kind of give you an update as to where I'm at, Tom's at, and where the finance committee will be going in a short period of time as to where we're at. So the overview of the budget process, we're going to talk quickly about, but factors impacting the budget, including the ESSER funding falling off, our enrollment situations, how that impacts the revenue limit, where we're at on that, and then some expense projection discussions, and then the next steps as to where we're at. So ESSER funding, when you look at the ESSER funding and the payroll and benefits that have been funded through that, in 22-23, we had teacher salaries and benefits of $476,746 funded with ESSER funding. We also were able to use the summer school salary and benefits of $125,000 that was an allowed use. So towards our budget, $601,746. 23-24, that number increased to $712,802. And primarily the reason that summer school dropped to 75 is the timing of which we're going to do it. If you remember last year, we had our summer school basically done in June. So we didn't have any July summer school expenses, where this year we're going to have summer school expenses in both June and July. So that's kind of being split. And we actually added another week or two to the summer school program. That ESSER funding has to be expended by the end of September 2024. So therefore, we can use it after June 30th of this year for the summer school.
Mike, for those who are not familiar with ESSER funding, do you mind? I know we have some people that may not be.
The ESSER funding is the money that was in response to the pandemic. And their biggest goal with that was addressing the learning loss that occurred during the pandemic and to help schools and students recover from that. We have used ours for some capital items to improve our facility, our cleaning and air handling and that type of expenditures. But primarily a lot of our ESSER funding has went into salaries and benefits. And we'll talk about that in a little bit on the revenue limit calculation. So enrollment at Viroqua area schools, you look back 2018-19 all the way through what we're projecting for 24-25. You can see there is a steady decline. what we're projecting would actually be 53 students less in head count. And so there's two ways to look at enrollment. There's head count and there's the September FTE. The September FTE adds students, district residents, attending other schools or programs through the Wisconsin Open Enrollment Program, but subtracts those that are here. So you have your head count. And, you know, those are the, as we like to say, seats and seats. And then you have what your FTE is. With our open enrollment staying relatively steady and our open enrollment out increasing, we are seeing, you know, a shift basically in our September FTEs. What that allows is September FTE is what drives your revenue. So, you know, if you look at that over that period of time, that's down 80 students or 75 students. But, you know, that's a 6-year period of time. Unfortunately, they're not in one area. We've talked about that before. 75 students over 12 grade levels, that's, you know, very minimal. Definitely doesn't even allow you to reduce class size just based on that. So these are the challenges that we've been, you know, seeing coming along, and we're not alone in that. And I'll share some more about that in just a second. So declining enrollment is treated under the revenue limit formula. It reduces resources, or that, you know, the ability to tax and get state aid faster than the costs go down with those enrollments. 71% of districts are in declining, 55% in 2006-07. 75% of students are located in just 30% of the districts. And public school enrollment projected to decline by over 10,000 students annually over the next 5 years. As you can see around the state, it's a little hard to see, but I mean, we're in this right here, this color, which is, you know, the basically the stable. There are areas of the state, very few are seeing rapid gains throughout the state. And this was, to get the proper source to this was Sarah Kemp, projecting public school enrollment in Wisconsin, did a study for the University of Wisconsin. So of course that drives our revenue limit. And the revenue limit is a maximum amount of revenue that may be raised through state general aid and property taxes for the general fund and non-referendum debt service. It is driven by resident FTE times the district's maximum revenue limit per member. There is hold harmless declining enrollment exemptions and private school vouchers, which provide additional revenue limit authority, but don't necessarily equate in additional money to spend for the district. The maximum revenue per member was increased in 2021 to 10,000, where it remained until 23-24 this year to 11,000. In 24-25, it will increase $325. So to put that in perspective with our numbers, our current 3-year averages are on the top. So as you can see, the numbers are going down. The revenue limit with no exemptions has basically remained, if you look 19-20, 2021, 21-22, remained basically the same. It actually went down because our 3-year average went down in 22-23. This year, we did have the increase because they raised that low revenue ceiling or floor up, ceiling, I guess they call it. And as you can see where that goes. We have our non-recurring referendum. Back in 19-20, it was 350,000, up 200,000. So when you look at our total, you have to remember, we increased it with taxpayer approval, 200,000 back in 2021. And we have our declining enrollment exemption, which is a way to help you try to level that off. But as it keeps going, eventually that doesn't hold true. And then you have your private school voucher exception. This is money levied by the local school district for the private schools, which increases the revenue limit, but does not provide additional funding for us to spend. Right now, this number 24-25, I've just left it equal to that. It's gonna go up. I'd be guessing if I even tried to predict how much it was gonna go But the bottom line is it doesn't result in additional money for us either direction. So if you look at this graphically, our total revenue limit basically started the same as our spendable revenue, 11,378,900. So over that time period, our total revenue limit went up to 13,290,000, but our spendable only went up 12,463. 1.1 million in 6 years, if you want to look at it that way. So we've got our expense projections for next year. Payroll funded by ESSER in 23-24 budget is 637,802. Total budgeted salaries and benefits for funds 10 and 27, which is what is paid for through the tax levy and state aid, is 13,330,000 total. Every 1% increase in salaries and benefits for the non-ESSER funded positions is 126,900. So when we're talking about salary and benefit increases, every 1% is 126,000. That's after removing the 637,000. Our spendable revenue limit is anticipated to increase 262,820. I think you can see where I'm going. Staffing. The fiscal cliff created by inadequate increases in the revenue limit since 2019, along with the expiration of the ESSER funding, will result in a reduction of staff. I've already talked about that. Employee benefits. Second to wages, health insurance is the greatest cost to the district. Plan design changes may need to be considered to offset inflationary increases and to allow for salary increases. And we are not alone. In December of 2023, WASBO surveyed Wisconsin superintendents and business officials as to their impressions of how budget challenges would impact students over the next 2 years. Here's the results real quickly. The percent of respondents indicating the following are likely to impacts as a result of budget challenges over the next 2 years. There will be staff attrition. 81% of districts have said that they anticipate that. They're going to delay on capital improvements, 70%. Less student access to teacher support staff, 65%. Increased class sizes, 64%. They fully expect families will decide to enroll elsewhere because of basically the top 4 reasons, 46%. Lower district report card score, 44%. Less access to specialized classes, 44%. And lower academic student performance, 39%, and less access to extracurriculars. These are all things that we're trying to weigh as an administrative team when we talk about staff attrition. What's that going to do to these other areas, and how can we minimize that as much as possible? I think, how do I get back? So I do have more information for you to review. I can send anybody this information, or they can, get it. The State of Wisconsin, School Finance in Wisconsin, the 2024 edition. It was presented by WASBO at the State Education Convention. Does a really good job. And then there's a cute little animated video explainer of Wisconsin school funding in general, if anybody has any information on it. So that's my quick presentation. We're not going to go into more depth. Where we're at is we are in the next 3 weeks going to have a better idea as to where we're at on the staffing, what reductions we're going to realize from that. We're going to be meeting with staff on some health insurance changes that we're going to need to be implementing in the next coming year with our renewal. And then from there, we'll start the process of trying to figure out other areas to look to come in under budget. We came into this budget this year with a $250,000 deficit. If we want to get back to zero, that's going to be a challenge as we show on this. Any questions?
Mike, is it possible to send this to our representatives? It's a really well-done presentation. It's very simple how this affects, how their decisions are affecting our decisions, with information about how it's also affecting other districts in the state, their decision-making.
Yes, they have been provided the last presentation.
I'm sure that they have, but
Yes,
this being
coming from us,
specific
Mike.
to us. And that our community supports education, that our enrollment's pretty consistent, it's declined slightly, but not enough to, reduce class sizes or reduce class offerings.
The inflationary costs have exceeded the, I mean,
The
it's just-
increase.
yeah.
Per student.
Yep.
But it's very well done. Anybody else have anything for Mike?
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the district administrator on facilities and workshop updates.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to see what I can do here. As far as, would that be share screen, Beth?
Yeah,
On this
it already
one?
is.
We're gonna try to. Yeah,
I think it'll be the
My
the
meetings.
Google one,
this one?
Yeah.
I think. Yep, to the, very to the left.
Okay, so we have a few videos that have not been released. If you've been following on Facebook, I've been walking through every Wednesday, and they've been incredible to see the progress. It has been a loud week. I would say that for our staff, specifically starting last Monday through today. I have been told that hopefully by tomorrow that the loudest portions of the demo projects will be done. They stated that the first day at the elementary would be the loudest, and that has held true, at least for this first week. It was incredibly loud while they got the block off of the facade of the building. It was really crazy. It was shaking. It was a lot. But the crew has been incredibly efficient, and are working from very early in the morning and trying to avoid some of our dismissal arrival times, trying to time this up, and it's a big project. And so we're gonna play these videos. For those of you online, I will post these probably tomorrow morning on Facebook. So it will probably be easier for you to just watch those via Facebook tomorrow. So I'm not trying to check out of the meeting, but you may want to turn off your sound until after these are done. I don't know how it's going to come through online. So the first one we're going to walk through, let's go through the elementary. And this is the old district office, which we've walked through twice.
So you can see over here, those are still there, and we do not have one above this doorway anymore. Those are going away.
It's gone.
So as we walk in, the biggest thing they worked on this week were the ceiling tiles and getting this kind of framing up here. You can see the edges are all done. As we walk through, the door over there will be actually bumped out farther to create a longer hallway. And so they're going to begin that work next week. And again, as we walk into the common area, it's looking great. We've got everything for the next week will be above the ceiling. So they'll drop in all of the lights. You can see like right up here, this grid right here is a longer one. That's going to be where the light right here, where the light goes. And we will also put in some heating panels as well. And so then they'll be able to drop in all of the rest of the ceiling. So as we go into Miss Brown's room, again, ceiling is the focus, and everything above the overhead is going to be the focus for the next week. So can't wait to show you guys when that's all done. It's looking great, and we will bounce to
The next area. That's how I finished the video. Above, so it's a lot of HVAC and rough-ins going in this week above. So they're gonna be dropping down those, the heating, units that come down through. There's one right above the students right up there. These are gonna be a little bit, longer, but that's gonna be really cool to see those come in. And then the lighting also, and then dropping in the ceiling tiles will be really simple and really easy. Will seem like a very small project compared to our next couple of videos. And so when we look at the front entrance, and already this is outdated, so if you have not driven past the front entrance, it's pretty.
This is the old awning here at the elementary school. We can see there is a lot going on here. This is the old sidewalk as you walk up. And this is where the new secure entrance will be. We got some sound issues here. I'll do my best to speak over it. And as we can see, this looks completely different just 2 days after work has started. As they are taking out this front entrance right here, we are going to save the date, 1995 date, and we believe there's a time capsule behind there. And so we are going to keep you updated as the weeks progress, and we'll give you an update again next week.
So, if you haven't been, this again is a video that will be posted. We'll post another one later in the week. It looks completely different already. One of the really cool parts about the front entrance at the elementary was the first day, from this video, you can see they laid plywood over the windows because they were chipping out all of that rock, all of the brickwork, and they didn't want to break the windows. And so, I think there was a fear that those were going to be covered up for the rest of the year, and it was super dark in the commons or in the cafetorium. They have since removed those, and now I'm very sure is a major distraction for our elementary teachers and students, because we had an excavator literally digging right the windows here, they're digging right here, and the kids can watch it. It is the coolest thing. I was distracted walking through today. I am very sure that our students were as well. But it was incredible. It's incredible to see how quickly these crews are working, and how much they can get done with the right equipment and the right people doing the work. And so, the biggest pieces, from today on are continuing. I believe they're done with all of the demo now, as far as the earthwork over at the elementary. They will now begin pouring the footings and the foundation forms for the new addition, which again is ridiculous when we look at where we were on Wednesday, even to today. And so it's going to be an incredible project, and I really do like the windows over there to be able to see the day-to-day progress. It's really cool. And even with all of the heavy machinery, it was not even close to as loud as the day that they were using a literal jackhammer to chisel off brick. And so it was intense that first last week, Monday, and a little bit into Tuesday, but mostly Monday. Any questions on the elementary?
I just wonder how many students that are watching that think, I want to do that when I grow up. I'm curious what their thoughts are.
It's very cool. And then this is going to be from the high school. As you walk in, the new door.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Entrance number 25.
John Burkhalter here, and we are just going to do a walkthrough of the high school. As you can see, the entrance has been, the parking and drop-off has been adjusted, and we're going to walk in through door number 25, and just going to see what the changes to the commons are, and we will see the adjustments.
So this wall went up in less.
As you can see, the normal commons over here, but we can see this temporary wall that's going to go up over on this side of the commons. And behind this is where they'll be working on the two-stage secure entry. So we'll go right in through this. There's some building so the students can see what's happening. There's a render of the new second edition. So when we walk in here, see, this is the old entrance at the V. Keep the V, but we're going to come here. Will be area. As we come through, so you'll walk in here through these doors and the new entrance. Here, school office, it'll be built out this way. This will be the main hallway to get into the rest of the building. The principal's offices and nurse and social workers and counselors will be all in this area. So out these windows, it'll be built out closer to that main entrance there. So this will all be indoor space or interior space when all is said and done. And then there's again another temporary wall over there. And so that's just to make sure that they can work on this part of the building and still have it be safe for everybody in the rest of that they're working throughout the rest of the buildings.
Notice I didn't say quiet through the rest of the buildings, because it is not. And so I do appreciate all of the patience on both sides, from our staff understanding, hey, we're in the middle of a construction project right now, and this is gonna be, there are gonna be these temporary pieces and loud noises and inconveniences. And then also from Myron's point of view, where they've already adjusted some schedules based on testing and based on other, pockets where we needed them not to be tearing down a wall or something along those lines during those times. And so within the entrance, they are currently taking down, if you go directly out the middle school exit, right out these doors here, they are taking down that awning that is out there that used to have the bike racks underneath them. And so that's coming down so that they can knock out all that concrete and then expand that office area over there. And so on top of that, and I don't have any footage for you because they just started today, behind in the middle school's two-story addition, they did start also doing some of that excavation and getting the concrete workout and the digging for some of those platforms and piers for those footings. So it is
On the second floor looking down at the excavator.
Is it really cool?
There was maybe a middle school principal that was hanging out there.
Is that why I couldn't find you today? No. So it's really incredible when we look at from start to finish, when we went into this phase two, just not finished, but to the current reality, it's incredible what they've been able to accomplish in a short amount of time. And I really look forward, obviously, to seeing the progress. But it's daily as far as changes and differences that everyone can notice. Any questions, comments, concerns about the project?
I would say for staff, if staff were here when we did the middle school, high school remodel, this is minor compared to what they did and went through. So if they were still here then, and they're still here now, that this is nothing.
Well, I wouldn't say it's nothing, but I will say it's different. I will say, yeah, it's probably different. Yep.
Because they were right in the buildings. We were moving classrooms every couple months. People had to move to a different spot and have their classroom somewhere else. And we had classroom space in the gymnastics room. Ceilings were open, all kinds of stuff. Floors were being torn up right while school was going on. So
with a new two-story classroom.
Yep.
Any concrete work going in around there?
What are you trying to get at there? You look like you have.
I heard some rumblings from some 5th and 6th graders that we took away some Foursquare and.
We definitely. Yes, there was a new Foursquare lines painted. Yes, we did have to sacrifice 2 Foursquare, courts. I don't know, what do you call them? Areas, and yes, it was a sacrifice, and I apologize. Yeah.
Have they been added? Paint down?
Not right now. No, they have that entire area fenced in. Obviously, law of, just so they have enough buffer and room to work. So those fences, when they come down, obviously there'll be some blacktop and concrete area. They will have some space.
Oh, we're going back.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, the
Let
weather,
Will know that his Foursquare will be back. All right,
well, the weather's been very nice this winter in order to do some of this work, so hopefully they've been able to progress faster than they anticipated.
anything else? Any other questions? Yeah, we can go to the board workshop. So on, what was it? Wednesday, the 6th of March, the school board met to go over our school pride pillar of our strategic plan. So for those of you that don't know, this is a change for the board. As the normal, data that we look at, is very academic in nature. And so this was a unique opportunity for Krista and I, to compile some data that our board has not seen or looked at, but also be able to spotlight some amazing things that are happening throughout the district. And so the pieces here, the parts of the goal that for school pride are to inspire a culture of school pride, nurtures a sense of belonging and ownership, fosters engagement, and celebrates achievements. And that was a really big part of, it's not one that is typical in most strategic plans, but it was really a important for our staff that were a part of that strategic planning process, that we had school pride as one of the pillars. And so as we were walking through, we have some baseline data that we were able to pull for nurturing a sense of belonging and ownership, but it is surface level and preliminary. And so we looked at things like chronic absenteeism rate and our attendance rates. We also looked at the school climate and safety surveys that have been done over the last 2 years by both our staff and our students. And so we were able to compare some of that data and look at some of that information. For fostering engagement, we looked at a number of things, including participation in athletics, both middle school and high school, and then participation in elective courses and what is offered and what is being selected by our students and the offerings that we have. And then we also jumped into celebrating achievements, and we have many to be proud of, including the U.S. News and World Report top schools for all 4 eligible schools. We sent 8 state qualifiers to the Visual Arts Classic this year, which is outstanding. We had 9 athletes that assigned to play their respective sports at the collegiate level, which is an excellent number. We had 3 students that placed at the regional FBLA event. Our 8th grade team advanced to the state math counts contest, which was an awesome experience. What was the word you used, Krista?
It was humble.
Humbling experience when we got down there, but that's okay. It was a great, it was a great time for our students to go and see some other students. We were also recognized as a top 100 district in the state of Wisconsin out of 425 districts. We were a Spectrum Award winner for our communication during the referendum in 2018, in 2022, and some of the communication that went out to the community. And for the first time, as far as we could go back, baseball, softball, volleyball, and boys and girls basketball all won a playoff game in the last 12 months. And so again, it's not all academic focused as far as, these celebrations. But there's a lot of great things happening within our district. And that's part of this pillar, is celebrating those achievements together, which, not all of us are great at, including myself. And another one was our scholarships awarded last year was $114,000 to our senior class. That was excellent. The end of this, we always talk about, okay, so what are some things that we can focus on and have goals for the upcoming year? The first one was a more of a direction to our admin team to go back and use our local data for attendance. And so for those of you that don't know, the state report card is a 2-year lag in attendance. I really don't understand why. So when you're looking at the chronic absenteeism rates, you're looking at them from 21, 22, 22, 23 for next year. they have a 2-year lag. And so when we talk about that, it really is not an accurate picture of what we're working on, but that is what we've kind of said we were going to do with most of the data, was use it off of public facing document that we have, which is our school report card. And so we're gonna go back and create essentially an attendance goal at each building as far as using the most current data and its recent information that we have. The other was to create or adopt an assessment for this pillar, potentially through companies like School Perceptions. And we are in conversation with them right now about creating one survey per year for our students, our staff, our parents, and our community. And so that we can try to get some data that we can correlate, but also that we can see over time and compare to the rest of the state and whoever they survey. And so it's that is coming hopefully soon. And we will begin that process for a late school year, late spring survey that can go to everybody essentially at the same time. And we can get feedback from every stakeholder group that we have. So you guys were there. Anything else that I missed in that summary of that evening?
One of the things I remember is we also spoke to students in the survey. Do students feel that their teachers care about them? And very strong support that students felt that their teachers cared about them, and that was wonderful. We did also speak to, do students feel that there is a person in the building that they can go to and talk to? And that was not as high of a percentage. And then the survey also went to teachers. Do teachers feel that students would easily be able to speak to them about a concern that they had or a specific topic? And the teachers got much higher that the students would come and talk to them about a topic than the students in their survey that they would go speak to a teacher about something, maybe a little bit more personal. So it's just all interesting to see people's perception. And we want our students and our teachers and all of our staff to want to be here. And if they don't want to be here, then we're trying to figure out why that might be and what we can do differently as a district to make sure everybody does want to be here.
And as far as an attendance goal, we're not alone in this. That doesn't make me feel more comfortable. We are definitely not alone. When we look at attendance rates across the country right now, post-COVID, they're pretty daunting. When we look at where we were pre-COVID to where we are now. And like I said at the board workshop, and I'll say it right now, I'm fully aware that I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth when I say you need to be here as students at school and stay home when you're sick. And we have definitely become more aware of illnesses and more aware of when we can and cannot attend school. And so again, I totally understand that there's a piece here that we have to try to find more clarity on. When we are, kind of saying, again, it's really important that you're here, but you can't be here when you're ill. And so we've got to find that balance. We haven't found it yet. But I'm confident that if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be the awesome team of staff that we have here.
And a prime example is the students that came here tonight and spoke. They're engaged, they're involved in some type of an activity that is fun and that they enjoy. That's more important to them than perhaps another student. So the more opportunities that we can give to our students to find what engages them, then the more they want to be here and the more they get out of their educational experience. So that was a perfect example of what our district is trying to do at the highest level to make sure that everybody wants to be here and learn and develop relationships.
All right.
Anybody else? The next administrator reports, we have summer school spelling bee, battle of the books and testing updates by Krista. You got it all.
My time of the year, I guess. We'll start with testing updates because today was a big day for that. Today is the opening of the window of forward exam and DLM. Last week we had ACT, which Jason will speak about. We also have pre-ACT secure for our freshmen and sophomores. And not forgetting any of them, but now is the time. I wanted to once again recognize our building level school counselors who take on the school coordinator role for each of these and put a ton of time and effort into putting the pieces together. And every year there are little things that pop up that we need to problem solve on the spot, but for the most part, the school counselors have always done a fantastic job getting them ready and preparing both staff and students for our students to do the best they can. So I guess we're just at the beginning of the biggest state testing. Summer school is another piece coming up that is still very much just in the planning, setting the stage for 2 sessions this year. A lot of just confirming with transportation, confirming with the library, setting up potential courses for morning classes and afternoon classes. Shared the dates with the families through Skyward, confirmed some additional like extra field trips or extra experiences for our students, and have gotten the registration booklet ready. So the next step is that registration booklet is coming out live next Monday. It will be a digital copy this year. Of course, we will always still have paper copies in the offices for families who need that, but that's kind of the next big step to see who and how many folks are interested in which of the sessions and which of the activities within those sessions and putting those pieces together. Any questions about summer school? And we'll keep going. Two other kind of special events that happen every spring. Battle of the Books just wrapped up. Last year, we introduced some additional levels of Battle of the Books, an elementary version and a high school version. This year, we had interest just in the elementary and the middle school versions. So we had, I listed the numbers there, about 20 students at each of those levels who read throughout the year and formed their teams. And there is a kind of a state level online battle for each of those groups. And then the more engaging one, I guess, in my opinion, is the one we host locally for like live face-to-face book battles with other teams from our region who have also been reading the same books. And so Viroqua hosts the middle school level one, which was just last Monday, and we hosted that at the Viroqua Public Library. So thank you to them for having a lovely site to hold that. They're always very welcoming and excited to have kids who love books in their building, and so that went well as well. And the spelling bee, another Viroqua tradition. That was a couple of weeks ago. We had students in grades 4 through 8 who represented their grade levels, and actually we have 2 smaller spelling bees within our school bee, one for the 4th through 6th graders, one for the 7th and 8th graders, and narrow it down to 1 top speller in each of those groups, who I will travel with to Westby tomorrow for the regional spelling bee. So that along with testing, there's also all sorts of special additional events going on right now. So it's a fun time of year, but busy. Any questions about those things?
Thank you. And I'm glad once again the weather's accommodating.
That is true. We've had no snow dates.
Don't say it out loud. It's just been accommodating. That's it.
Yeah.
It's been nice. The next item is testing, and I'm also, it looks like you're going to be presenting on the spring co-curriculars.
Yeah.
Deanna isn't here, so Jason, do you want to speak?
And
to
I think
those?
Dan, I believe, shared the information about the board from the co-curriculars. like Rachel mentioned, most of the spring sports are up and running. I think boys tennis, I think is the only one that's not practicing yet. Track has already had their first track meet. For those that are familiar with the UW Platteville, they have a large school and a small school. So we participated on Friday in the large school division, so we went against Milton, Janesville, Craig, Wanakee, any of those schools. So it's a good measuring stick for the kids to see there's always room for growth. But it can be a humbling experience also at times. And just to be able to see great athletes. I think one of the reasons we switched a few years ago from the Saturday small school event to the Friday larger school is the small school event, I think, tends to have even like 10 more schools added. So it ends up being a very long day. Winter sports were very successful this year. We did have, I believe we ended up with 4 second team all conference athletes. I think we had 8 honorable mention athletes this winter. We had 4 state qualifiers, 1 in wrestling and 3 in powerlifting, including a state champion in powerlifting. And recently Dan was able to take Andrew Fassbender and Maddie Zuby to the Cooley Conference Scholar Athlete Banquet, as they were our representatives this year. So it was a really successful winter season. As far as the high school testing aspect, like people said, Tuesday was our junior ACT day. We had great attendance, which leads us to very few makeups, if any. Potentially we may have 1 that we have to make up in the emergency or on the makeup day. Otherwise it's possible we may be done. Cody and the construction people did a great job working with us, because Tuesday would have been the second day of construction. So we were talking to them for a while and we're like, hey, Tuesday will need to be a quiet day. And the construction worker told me Tuesday morning, he's like, yeah, we won't use the hammer drill then. I'm like, hey, your definition of quiet may be different than mine. So we worked through them and we offered up our workers on Tuesday to go to the elementary and do some work during ACT testing, and then they came back and did some work here. So so they were really cooperative as far as just being flexible with us. As we explained to them, when we tell the rest of the high school to stay home, we really need quiet. So if we tell hundreds of kids, a couple hundred kids to be home, but we allow non-hammer drilling to occur, that's probably a mixed message that we're sending. So, but it was great to have that type of turnout. We'll have a month or 2 and then we'll get results back for the juniors. We do have this Thursday, 1 hour of the day, we will have forward testing, which is social studies. If you think back to the before ACT, as the state model, state statute requires that social studies be tested in different grade levels. And technically social studies is not part of the ACT by name. So they had to develop another test. Like 3/4 of the reading portion is social sciences, but that didn't count. So the kids will take a forward exam for social studies during second block on Thursday. And Wednesday, the juniors and seniors will have a late start. Trying to get all the freshmen and sophomores in for their pre-ACT. Nice thing with pre-ACT, it's shorter than what the AC Aspire used to be. So we'll try to have a quiet morning on Wednesday. And we'll see if we can get that to work out, and hopefully again we'll have good attendance with that. ACT Aspire is similar to the forward, that we have a window of time that we can proctor them. Then before we know it, we'll be trying to find a location for where we're going to AP test kids in a quiet location. So and especially
thrown out today. So a couple of ideas were thrown out today.
Jenny told me she threw an idea out to you. So when she was
In the video earlier.
yeah, I was in the video earlier. It's not quite finished yet, but it come May, because we don't necessarily need a finished area. If there's not bells and different things in there, it's actually better for us at this point. So especially because I think we're actually pretty tight over in this building. So we'll look at flexibility. Ideally, we wouldn't move them off campus for those. I mean, you can, But ideally, we wouldn't want to, and obviously we try to keep it, in as quiet and comfortable as environment as we can for a lot of those type of things, but we'll work our way through it and figure it out.
One thing I really do appreciate, is, as multiple districts struggled with the virtual ACT this year, and that platform, that we, kind of go old school, and we have chosen to do the paper and pen version, for that particular reason. And so it has been kind of clunky for some other districts as they've gone to a virtual, kind of platform for that.
Yeah, it's great when, even if you have the paper copies, it's when you can box up almost every test the day. I mean, because they set up the FedEx appointment before the test is even given, and you can get those back in the FedEx hands within 24 hours. It's a great day.
A late entry into the winter sports celebrations. We have two middle school wrestlers who are going to be competing at state on Saturday. Talia Benson and Josh Gullickson, who I know are watching online right now.
But they can watch the recording if they want.
There you go. Now they can. But congratulations to them, and good luck on Saturday. I'm really confident that they're going to be doing well, however it comes out to.
It's exciting. So Steve, do you also want to speak to the middle school play? since
Sure.
you're speaking?
Yeah, so you Hawks rock to Nicole Line, who you mentioned earlier is resigning at the end of this year, but you also mentioned does incredible work, and this is just an example of the incredible work that she's done here, which is to kind of single-handedly hold the drama club up. So some big shoes to fill in the future. Definitely an experience also, as you mentioned, for students that don't necessarily have other groups that they participate in. This has been a really good opportunity for some of those students. We've got 20-ish students, I don't know the exact number, but 20-ish students in the cast for this particular performance this year. Today was, I think, the first day that all 20-ish were in the same space. There's been a lot of illness this year so far, but you wouldn't know it. It's looking really cohesive, really fun. Anyway, the performance, the play is called Places in 5. I wrote up a little snippet here just to kind of give you a little taste. In case you are interested, it is this Thursday and this Friday. So Sarah is an aspiring actress who is convinced that she is destined for the stage. I mean, she doesn't really have any other skills. However, when she is passed over for the role of Spear Carrier 19, she's not so sure, until she might just so happen to be given the most confusing, fortunate, and frustratingly hilarious opportunity of her lifetime. With a Christopher Nolan type twist that will keep you and Sarah on the edge of your seat, it's Places in 5. That's again this Thursday, March 21st and Friday, March 22nd. Shows begin at 6 p.m. both nights at the elementary school cafeteria. Starring in the lead role, Leah Johnson as Sarah.
Do they still perform for some elementary school students as kind of a practice, or do they not do
That's a
that?
good question. I don't know if they're planning on doing that this year or not. And last year they did grace this stage as well, but especially given the plot of this particular play, with that Christopher Nolan plot twist, not necessarily wanting to give all of their cards away before the performance starts Friday this year.
Thank you. Very exciting. Is there a cost to go to the performance?
Not for children and students of Viroqua, but there's a $5 ticket cost for anybody else who would want to come and watch.
Thank you. Pat, we have you speaking to Read Across America, Books for Breakfast, Elementary School Swim Days.
Yeah, some fun events at the elementary building. Read Across America week was March 4th through the 8th, which seems like a long time ago, but a couple weeks ago. So we had some fun dress up days, but also contained fun, I would guess. I would say usually a lot of times Wednesday is Wacky Wednesday, but 4th grade was going to the symphony at Turbo, so it's Dress Your Best Day. So it was a lot of fun events in that. Probably the two biggest events are Nan Oldenburg coordinates bringing in guest readers. So we had about 25 to 30 readers, some at these tables, including me, some school board members, fire department, insurance, banks. It's a neat way to get community members involved and get into the schools. And kids love hearing books read aloud by somebody besides their teachers. And then to conclude the week on Friday, we had books for breakfast, which I heard was a popular event before my time here, and some changes with that pandemic thing. And it was neat to get families back into the building, which we haven't done a lot of those types of events. So it was pretty cool, even though our parking is a little adjusted for this year. But we had 150 parents or family members sign up for the breakfast to have breakfast with their kids. That's supposed to be paying for breakfast. And we had quite a few others that came just to enjoy their child having breakfast and reading a book with them. So they come in, get their breakfast, and then go into the gym and read a book together. So maybe 200-ish people, which adds a lot when we have about 30-ish parking spots. When I got a call from Cody that morning, I was like, is there something going on at the end? So I thought, one, I probably didn't communicate well enough that, yeah, there's an event going on. And two, yep, there's something going on. There's a lot of cars.
Education was full.
We appreciate families' patience with our construction project, that it didn't deter them. They added some walking and some time to their day, but we appreciate that. And I know their kids or family members appreciate that they showed up to read with them. So that was pretty cool. Swim days are just an awesome event. Seems like, oh, it's pretty easy to do, just bring the kids over and they swim, but there's a lot of organization that goes with that. So Kelly Olson, our elementary PE teacher, does a great job, and he's worked with Tim Lee to coordinate those. Tim comes back and they manage things at the pool, and each grade level gets about 45 minutes to swim for two days. And he's done, in fact, at the end of February. So that was the second day like that he planned, and then there's one more, I believe, in early May. So we get one more chance to use that pool, which is just awesome. You know that schools and pools don't always go together, as we've learned, but it's awesome that that's open. It's awesome that our students, elementary students, get a chance to do that during the school year. Yeah, fun day. The weather coordinated for a little walk over and through the middle school. Patience of the middle school and high school staff as we cut through the building and find their way to the pool, which is cool. So yeah, some fun stuff, which is exciting. We have that great viewing area to watch the progress of the construction. Good stuff going on.
Any questions? So thank you all for those updates. Board report, Laurel High School.
Oh, there was no meeting in the past month, but there will be a governance council meeting next Monday.
VAM's update, Jen?
Yeah, they had a meeting. They're working on a 501c so that they can do fundraising for expanding VAM's activities. And they're also going to try and put some additional stuff into the website, work with the company that does our website so that they can have some more Montessori things that go into that. And they're looking at doing more marketing materials, and they have, well, at the meeting, they have about 6 students on the waiting list, and they have 4 openings in grade 1. That's been the grade that's been the smallest all the way through. It's had openings. So that's about it.
The next item is WSB legislative update, which Tom already spoke to this a little bit, that the DPI is supporting school districts choosing their own start and end dates. And the start date has been something that we have been speaking to our legislators about ever since they mandated that we could not start until after Labor Day. And so we believe that our school districts are more than capable of choosing when we should start school and what is best for our personal calendars and our students, especially since most of the high school activities start in August, early August even, and there's a lot of ways of doing it. We could have a day off on Friday, and we could have lots of opportunities for setting our calendar that would benefit our students, our families.
Yeah, and I think just expanding on that, this is not, it's not something that, it's facing, insurmountable hurdles, but it's really the tourism, portions of Wisconsin, which we absolutely appreciate and understand that we, even, over here in the Driftless, see that. But I think that there are some logical solutions here that school boards can, come to an opportunity that for the holiday, they can still, have 4-day weekends and those kind of things in order to make sure that our families still have access to some of those tourist destinations throughout the state of Wisconsin. And so, yeah, they're doing a piece with DPI that is essentially it's not a piece where they're asking school boards or, citizens to write this long letter saying, here's why you should allow our school boards to do this. They are literally doing essentially a head count vote of an email that you can send that's saying, I support school boards having the flexibility within their calendar for start dates. And so again, it's not a piece where they're going to be looking into the why you support it or things like that. It is an administrative rule within DPI that they have been asked to essentially open for the first time in a long time. And so we're hopeful that they will grant us that flexibility.
And with that, I would encourage everyone to go to that website and hopefully support that flexibility. I did. And I hope that all of you have the opportunity to do that as well.
So that email is adminrules@dpi.wi.gov.
So anyway, so thank you for that. Spring school board election, Tuesday, April 2nd. The candidates that have that will be on the ballot this year will be Vicky, Robert, and Kim, and there's 3 spots and 3 people. So, and they are all incumbents, and so congratulations. Yes, I can say at this point. And with that, motion to adjourn.
So.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And thank you all for coming. Staying.
Yeah. Thank you guys.